Hey folks, how are you? Hope everybody's doing great. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to check out the video, even in the slightest. I really appreciate you guys, and I hope I can help you with the Amius fight today. So, I was traveling this week and I was kind of putting this off a little bit because I've got to like brainstorm the team. I've got to do the fight. It doesn't always go perfectly the first time. I've got to make the whole video and talk for half an hour and do all that stuff. But obviously that was silly because apparently this is a really it's one of the chillest rotations. Like I just did this. It took me 5 minutes. So hopefully you guys have a similar experience to that. So let's take a look at the lovely team I've concocted. All right, so that is my gang there. And as always, I will explain why I chose these champions. We will walk through the entire fight together. I'll tell you every decision I made, why I did that, all of the specifics. And people seem to like when I do that, so we'll just keep doing that for every rotation on both hard and normal. So if you've done Amius before, you're definitely going to see some fan favorites here. Venomage, I absolutely love the rotations with Venomage. She's just, the heal reduction is so good, and it's like 3 turns, it lasts forever. You've also got the decreased defense, decreased attack. You can maybe get a bit of damage out of the poisons, and then we've also got an accuracy aura here, right? 45 in the lead for accuracy, so that's really helpful because you do need, I believe it's 450 accuracy for this fight, so it's pretty steep, but that's like around-ish what you need for hard dungeons these days, and stuff like Iron Twins is like 550 maybe. So yeah, I'm sure you've got some champs around that, and if not, try to get yourself an accuracy aura. Artak is just amazing. Like, anybody who can just stand here and have a level 1 brimstone is really good. HP burn is nice because HP burn can't be reversed or removed by him, so you'll keep dealing damage with that. Speaking of HP burn, I've got Mr. Geomancer here with his amazing passive. Of course, you could do HP aura as well if you're good on the accuracy. I probably could have done that. I don't think I have any accuracy issues on this team, so you could have done that. So yeah, the Geomancer passive, we can remove buffs if Amius happens to get any buffs on him and we run into a bad moment with the kind of debuff reversal, if you guys know what I'm talking about. Rector Drath, amazing support, probably my favorite epic in the whole game. Just super good at keeping people alive with the heal, the veil, the revive, the tankiness. Awesome champion. And then I have chosen Sepulcher Sentinel here. It was just a really common epic. I hope you guys have her. I built her years ago for a traditional clan boss team, and that team never really ended up turning into anything, but certainly somebody I still use on my account in these lovely hard faction wars and whatnot. So yeah, block debuffs, increased defense here. And yeah, so as always, when I do these fights, I'm just picking the most accessible champions that I could find, and I'm doing the fight with them. Like, as always, you are completely welcome to use your better champions. Like, I mean, look at all these better champions we could use, right? Like, Alatray and Blademaster is, I'm pretty sure it's impossible to lose with this champion on your team because he has the big shields, the block debuffs, the increased defense, and they're protected automatically versus a boss. So you never have to worry about your buffs getting removed. Like, literally free win, definitely use him. Pythion, you can use him. That's kind of a better version of the Sepulcher, right? The block debuffs, the revive, the little bit of healing. So yeah, that's like your Lego upgrade. I've used Tila in this fight with the HP burn. You can see, like, I see a ton of champs who are good, right? Like Brogni, like Theodore, like, you know, most of these Legos would be pretty good. You've got epics, you've got like Mordecai. I think I've done this fight with Ox the Remember because I'm a big fan of that. If you have like a really crazy seer, maybe you could do something. I don't know. Not not the expert on that. Demitha, really strong support. So Doom Priests. Somebody told me they did this with Doom Priest because it's got kind of like the passive cleanse and heal. So that's really good. So definitely shout out to Doom Priest. Walking Tomb Drang, definitely could use that. New support, I think, would be pretty good. Yeah. Just if you need that reviver, need that kind of help. I guess Ancora's down here too. But yeah, so as always, this is my team, and you should make relevant upgrades wherever you can. So I had Mr. Geomancer. Oh, Mr. Venomage, Mrs. Venomage, I apologize, in the lead. So, okay, let's look at my full walkthrough of the fight, which was actually really quick, only took me about 2 minutes, 20 seconds. Alrighty, so the lovely, lovely Amius fight here. Got my team. Like I said, I'm doing Veno in the lead for the accuracy. And if you guys have done this fight before, we'll just do a brief recap of the abilities, which will explain kind of what I'm doing here. So you've got your two abilities up here. This one is an enormous heal, like just absolutely massive, will basically crush whatever damage you've done to him. And he typically opens up with this as long as he doesn't have any debuffs. In my experience, he is likely to open with this ability if you start placing debuffs on him. And what this ability does is it reverses all of the debuffs you put on him and turns them into the positive buffs. So like if you put decrease attack, it's going to turn it into increased attack. And then he'll have like 5 turns of increased attack and you're going to die. And it's a tragedy. So basically what I'm getting at is open with your kind of A1s and other abilities that can't be reversed because, or else he will reverse them and ruin your day. So there are some things that are okay to apply. Like you've got your HP burners, that's completely fine to apply. He's not going to reverse that. And then something else that I always talk about in these videos is with your brimstone carrier, which ideally you should have one. If you don't place brimstone immediately right here, I would just restart it because he's going to use 2 back-to-back abilities. So he's going to take both hits from brimstone. This is a really, really ideal time. So just start off on the right foot, get that damage. So as you can see, Artak is my fastest. And like I said, it's completely fine to place that HP burn because he's not going to do anything about that. And I was lucky enough to get the brimstone as well. And then with Rector, I am doing the A1. Obviously, her the heal and the veil is an amazing ability, but it would be a waste to use it right now, right? Nobody's even remotely weak. So I'm going to wait until he's hit us with the big AoE ability, and then I'm going to come in with the heal. So let's see what else is up. A1 on Veno, like I said, if you start placing decreased attack, decreased defense, heal reduction with Veno, those are all going to get reversed into like 4 turns of continuous heal and increased attack and total disaster. So wait a moment on those. And then Geo, I'm contemplating apparently, but yeah, completely fine to do the quick sand grasp. The one thing is you have technically placed weaken and it is going to get turned into strengthen, but we don't really care. There's a couple reasons why we don't care. Number one is that all of my damage is coming from brimstone and burn. It's just like percentage based damage. The strengthen doesn't matter. Like I'm not using nukers here. So no big deal. And then reason number 2, Geomancer has an ability that removes buffs, his A2. So if I'm really that worried about the strengthen, technically I can just remove it. So all sorts of things to keep in mind throughout the fight. Okay, so that's the big giant heal that I mentioned. And the kind of nice thing about this is because we have Geo, the Geo passive, right, reflecting the damage, and then we've also got the lovely burn and the lovely brimstone. You can see that even though it's a massive heal, it's actually a pretty good chunk that we were able to sustain there. So like, I'm super happy with that. A little better than I thought it would be. Okay, so his first turn is down. And obviously this might all go a little bit differently depending on the speeds of your champions. But as you can see, my Sepulcher Sentinel is now taking her turn. And I am going to go ahead and use the black debuffs because his next ability is going to be the AoE stun. So we want to make sure we block that so we can keep using our abilities and our heals and keep doing what we're doing here. So let's go ahead and do that. And again, if she was like really fast, you wouldn't want to do that too early because you want the black debuffs to still be on your champions when this turn comes around. So like if she was like my fastest instead of Artak, I probably would wait a turn and then apply the black debuffs. That would just make the most sense, right? Okay, and then like we talked about, remember any of these buffs that are reversible, they're getting reversed. So that's why you see me A1ing with Artak and Veno and everybody. And then like I said, I was waiting until the damage was done to use the heal. So that's fine. Go ahead and use the heal. And then something else to keep in mind about the buffs is you always have to think about both of his forms. He's got the form 1 here, then he's got the form 2 Eclipse form. When you go into the Eclipse form, he is going to do an ability that reverses all of your buffs. So you really don't want any of them lingering. Right now, it's completely fine to use them. You've got 3 turns remaining. That's, you know, fantastic. Like 2, 2, 2. These are all going to be expired. So completely fine to use them now. Just be careful using them later into this phase. I would just save them until you're safely in the Eclipse form. So just a little note about that. And then again, I'm just A1ing until it's safe to do other stuff. Technically, Geo has decreased accuracy on his A1, but again, that's one of those buffs that I'm not really worried about. If he gets increased accuracy, like we all have block debuffs on, none of my champions really have res anyway, so whatever debuffs he was going to place, those are happening regardless, so no big deal there if that were to happen. And okay, so that was supposed to be the giant AoE stun, which we completely blocked because of the Sepulcher Sentinel's black debuffs. And then like we talked about earlier, here is the 3-turn strengthen because he reversed the weaken. And that's what I was saying. When these buffs get reversed, it's for a lot. It's for a lot of turns. So you don't want him to have 3 turns of increased attack. You just can't sustain that kind of damage. So kind of a little example of that. And then again, that was the second brimstone hit, right? So we've actually already chunked him fantastically. This is going really well. And then, so now we're here. Both abilities are down. You can do whatever the heck you want. Like I said, be careful with the buff placement because in 2 turns, those are all getting reversed, going bye-bye. So probably don't do any buffs. He's going to do his A1 here a couple times, which is an AoE, and it can really hurt. So it's nice that we have the increased defense from Sepulcher on, and some people have continuous heal from Rector. And what I'm also going to do right here on Artak, even though there's no burn to detonate, I'm going to place the decreased attack because that's really going to help with the big AoE A1. A1 from her. She's only got the 1 ability. And then Veno, you can do whatever you want. I guess I'm just going with the A1 because I think I want to wait 1 more turn on using like the the big heal reduction and whatnot, poisons. And then again, these abilities are still down, nothing to worry about. You can use Artak's Burn again, A1s on other people. I'm going to go ahead and use the double poison and the heal reduction. That's fine. Geo's ability's up, go ahead and use that. So we're going into the form 2 Eclipse form. And like we were talking about, these 2 abilities right here, this is removing all of your buffs and putting you in an unresistible sleep. And then he's going to go into big AoE. And the thing with that, those 2 abilities back to back, the first thing is, if you had happened to place Brimstone like the turn prior, that's an amazing place to have Brimstone, because once again, he's doing 2 abilities back to back. You'll get the double hit. Would have been awesome. Sadly, didn't work out. Might have still been on cooldown. I wasn't really paying that much attention. But yeah, so that's another amazing Brimstone spot to apply that. And then the other thing to notice is, like we were talking about with the buffs, he does reverse them. So this can be really devastating if you accidentally got your buffs reversed. Like, just picture if all of these people had decreased defense and weaken, and then he does the big AoE smack, you'll all just die. So that's why it's super important. Don't get your buffs reversed. Just play it cool. And then as you can see, that's ignore shield, ignore block damage, ignore unkillable. So it should be a really devastating ability, but it's not at the moment. So, because we did everything right. And then something else to keep in mind about the form 2 is he does those 2 abilities and you're like slept during that time. So you can't do anything. So basically when he's in this form, there's just 1 turn. You literally just have to survive him doing his A1 1 time. That's it. And then you can get the heck out of this form. So, but unfortunately his A1 is very scary, right? It's like ignore defense, ignore shield, ignore everything. It's like more to macabre peril, basically. So can be a devastating ability. I'm fortunate here. These are all champs that you can build fairly tankily. Like, I'm confident if he chooses any of these champions, they can survive the hits. Occasionally, you might get unlucky. You might get crit or something. And yeah, it happens, but not something I'm super concerned about today. And then, oh yeah. So basically, you have to survive 1 turn. He's like a third of the way to taking his turn. And then he's going to go back into the other form. So you immediately have to start thinking about the other form, right? So like, what did we talk about with the other form initially? You don't want, like, these debuffs, you don't want these to linger. These are all expiring in 1 turn, and that's good. You can also like play this to your advantage a little bit, because with this kind of team, at least, depending on your team, you can. So like, for example, if I were to place like the decrease attack or whatever, he might reverse it, but it's not really a big deal because then I can either just immediately remove it. And then I can also sort of play him. Like, I can place, at that point, I can place the heal reduction, and he's already blown his reversal. So like, then that heal is definitely getting heal reduction. So as you're playing it, you're going to get a feel for what's happening and kind of what's the correct thing to do for the situation. And as always, I could have done 500 different things and still won, right? It's not a one size fits all. You've kind of got to feel out your team, your speeds, see what's happening. Obviously, very few of you are going to be using these exact champs, right? So you've kind of got to feel out like your own champs, see what's going on, see what the flow of the fight is. And I trust you all to do that. So again, I'm kind of just A1ing. I think I am going, yeah, I'm placing the Venomage decrease attack because like we talked about, the A1 is like the scary ability. So having decrease attack on for the scary ability is super helpful. And I decided that's fine because, like I said, I'm not really worried about these getting reversed because I can remove them with Geomancer, and then that makes it safe for me to place the heal reduction. So for this team, I'm not worried about it. And then also, remember, you do have a Geomancer. So you can see with Artak, instead of detonating the burn, I attempted to lengthen it with Artak's A1. It didn't work out, but what are you going to do? And then, keeping the decreased attack for when you need it. We already had the decreased attack from Venom, so not really piling it on. And then here, it's completely fine to place buffs. There's no penalty for doing that from the Eclipse form going back into the other form. So I can see that he's got these debuffs, and he's probably going to want to lead with the stun. So I'm going to lead with my black debuffs because that makes sense to me. And again, I'm going to get us all healed up. It doesn't look like we're able to place any Veils because we're not full HP, but yeah. Then we'll just go back to A1ing. Can place Burn again. Using the A1 with Geo and hanging onto the buff removal. And then it looks like it all went according to plan. He is leading with the stun, so we'll see what happens here. So yeah, he did actually get increased accuracy, increased defense, increased attack. But like I said, he absolutely played himself here because number one, he's getting brimstoned. So that's nice. And then number two is I'm going to place the heal reduction with Veno, and there's nothing he can do about it. So we're going to stop the huge heal. And yay, right? This is all good. And then, like I said, with Artak, I'm attempting to extend the Geomancer burn. It hasn't worked any of the times, but I'm trying, guys. Because remember, if you override Geo's HP burn, it's now Artak's HP burn, and then the Geo passive won't work, but not a super huge deal. Obviously this all went fine anyway, even though I was never successful in extending it. And then, okay, so we've actually got him pretty weak, and I start to realize, I'm pretty sure I can kill him. I've got 2 more turns here. That's a lot of time, you guys. Especially because I can place the Geo HP burn, Quicksand Grasp again, and then he's going to have 2 turns of the A1, so he's going to hurt himself a lot. So I'm feeling good about this part of the fight. And then again, both these abilities are down. You can do whatever you want. If you're not going to kill him at this moment, again, be wary of the buffs going into the next form. But me right now, I understand that I'm probably going to kill him, so I'm going all out. I'm using everything. But again, depending on what happened in your situation, might be a little different, but I'm just going for it. Detonating the burn, and again, like I said, the big AoE A1 that he just hurt himself so much with the Geo passive, just like I was hoping. And then it looks like Geo's actually getting a counterattack, which kills him. So very nice then. But again, regardless of Geo counterattack, he would have died. We had another full rotation of everybody's turns, so that was definitely going to happen. So there you have it. That was Amius Lunar Archon on hard with 4 epics and Artak, who again could be replaced with whoever the heck you want. 2 minutes and 20, probably one of the better times I've had on this fight with all these teams I've done. Everything went quite nicely. Geomancer actually the hero of the fight, which says a lot because it's pretty hard to outdamage the Brimstone. Because when it's percentage-based damage like that, it just does so much. But yeah, Geomancer actually the MVP there. Heals here, a black debuffs. Venomage with the heal reduction. There are some things that aren't reported on the victory screen. You can't really put a price on how useful that heal reduction was. And as always, I will show you the builds that I was using on these champions. Okay, so onto the builds. We only had the one Lego. Oh, and the one thing I want to say is that these are my everyday builds on these champions. I Did not change a single piece of gear. These are just everyday builds that I use all the time on my account. Nothing was changed. Again, there's nothing wrong with doing that, but I'm just saying, like, I didn't do anything crazy. These are just sort of average useful champions on my account. If you need to slap an accuracy banner on somebody, if you're not quite there, if you need to change an awakening to brimstone, do what you got to do. I'm just saying, like, there's nothing really revolutionary that you're going to see in these builds. So there's my Mr. Artak. And I've talked about this before. I think the awakening level is grossly overstated, the importance. Like, I really don't think it's important. I've done this with level 1 brimstone, level 1 awakenings, no awakenings all the time. The videos are up on my channel. So really don't worry if you don't have crazy awakenings. In my experience, it's not that important. So there you go. Yeah, so I have the accuracy to do what I'm doing. Oh, I kind of don't, right? I think it's 450, but we did have the Veno in the lead, so that's more than enough. 277, I do use him in places like Hard Spider, Ice Golem, stuff like that. So, but again, if your Artak is like 240, you're fine. You can still do it. So there you go. Masteries, if you're about that life, there you are. Next up in my epicos, we've got, where is she? Help, I'm lost. Okay, Rector Drath, like I said, one of my favorite champs. I'm using Relentless, and it looks like maybe some Stone Skin. Little hodgepodge here. Again, this is a build I've had for years. Nothing super special. Didn't change anything. I use this in several places. All over my account. Amazing champion. Again, if your stats weren't this good, like if you had like 1,000 less defense, you still would have been fine. If you had less HP, don't worry if you're not quite at whatever I'm showing you. It's really not a big deal. Just try to get in the ballpark. I'm looking for Sepulcher. Okay, there she is. Really hodgepodge build. Nothing super special. Not even that fast, really. 228 for a hard Amius fight, but she's doing the block debuffs is so impactful. And then don't understate the increased defense when he's using the AoE A1 in the form 1. Really, really helpful. So yeah, no accuracy needed. Champion doesn't have any debuffs. So yeah, super awesome. And then, like I said, these are like clan boss masteries. So if you need some of this other stuff, like lasting gifts or whatever, do what you gotta do. And then I've said this before, I think War Master is really, really good in this fight, doing that percentage base damage, like, because he's such a tanky guy, right? So just doing this guaranteed percentage is really, really helpful, or at least I always find that. I really like to go in there with War Master on as many people as possible. Next up is Geomancer. I do have 2 because he's in my clan boss team. So that's my Geomancer. This is somebody that I use in Iron Twins. So the accuracy is overkilled because you need a lot for that. I think it's even like accuracy chests and whatnot. But again, if you want to go tankier, go HP, go defense. Oh yeah, it's accuracy on both. Yeah. So if you need to tank up a bit more than that, go for it. You have the Veno aura in the lead, hopefully, or some other accuracy aura helping you out a bit there. So, yeah. Wow, I haven't looked at these in in a few years. Those might not be the best. But again, War Master, very good. Very good. Okay, final person is Venomage herself. Okay, amazing champion. Huge fan. Like I said, it's nothing super special, right? It's just like 5-star accuracy, 5-star speed, 5-star perception. There's no need to lose our minds here. Nothing crazy. Couldn't even be bothered to 16 things, I guess. But amazing champion. It's all about the poisons, the heal reduction. So you just need to stay alive and have enough accuracy to do what you're doing. So love this champ, super good in this fight. And then like I said, Warmaster is OP. Very good. Okay, so that was everybody. As always, you guys can feel free to drop any questions that you have in the comments. I'm always gonna respond to those. And if I could help even one person, that is always my goal. Again, thank you for taking the time to watch the video. And as always, take care of yourselves. Goodbye.